Hi, everybody. How are you doing today? This is Dr. Kelly, and I'm here to talk to you about your food allergy results. So you should have gotten a kit in the mail. You should have completed that already. And now you're waiting for your next appointment for us to go over your test results. Well, I want you to watch a few videos before you and I have our next conversation because we're going to get a lot of questions right out of the way. And you may have gotten your test results and we may not be having an appointment for a couple of weeks. So it's great to have this information ahead of time. So let's start with the food allergy testing. You've had either 96 foods or 184 foods tested. We've been doing them by the finger stick method where you put drops of blood on that card, and now I've uploaded your results. What do they mean? Well, I'm here to explain a couple of different things. First of all, let me just show you what a report looks like. Okay, it is split up into different categories. I'm going to share my screen here for a moment so you can see that up close. There we go. So this is somebody's test and it's categorized. There are 96 different foods here, categorized in the form of several meats, several fish, lots of different vegetables, lots of different fruits. You'll see grains and starches, the dairy and eggs, miscellaneous, legumes, nuts and seeds, herbs and spices even, okay? 96 different foods are on this one page. And let me tell you, it gives you a ton of information. But what does it mean? First thing you need to know, first thing you need to take away, any food that is in red, you need to start to avoid. So for this person, carrot is in red. She has a class 1 reaction right now to carrots. She also has blueberries, grapefruit, lemon, and orange. Well, there's quite a theme there with citrus. Kelp she's allergic to, cheddar cheese, cottage cheese, cow's milk, and yogurt, okay? So when you first take a look at your results, just scan the list, whatever is in red, put it down on a separate list. Those are the foods that you need to avoid. Now you're going to find a number, like let's take the dairy category here. Cheddar cheese is a 1, but cow's milk is a 2, and yogurt is a 3. And now you may be saying, but don't they have all the same ingredients? And yes, you're absolutely right, they do. But one thing about the dairy category is that sometimes we're allergic to the whey, and sometimes we're allergic to the curd. And technically, when you think about that, curds and whey, how those two parts of that milk product are separated, you don't necessarily have to be allergic to both. We've tested the protein in each of those. In this particular case, she's definitely very allergic to both curds and whey. She can't tolerate the whey part, which is the milk part, and she cannot tolerate the cheese portion either. So she has to avoid that completely. But there are many, many times where I find somebody who has to stay away from milk, but they can occasionally have cheese because they did not show a reaction. Remember that on this test, we took your blood and tested against these proteins from these foods to find out where the antibodies are, where your body was reacting. Now, the first thing that pops into everybody's question is that, do I have to avoid this forever? And no, most of the time you don't. I'm going to get into that in just a moment. But what I want to explain first is that the number, if it's a 1 or a 2 or a 3, it does not matter. That's not the level of severity, meaning you don't react more if you eat the yogurt and react less to the cheddar cheese. You react, period, to every single food that is red on the list. The number is a way for the lab to quantify how many antibodies your body has built up against that food or for that food. So I always like to get that out in the open right away, because people like to say, well, I'll just avoid, the ones that are a higher number and not avoid the ones that are 1s. The only thing you don't have to avoid are the foods that were not tested and the foods that have a 0. Okay, you're clear with that. We can only know what we've tested. If the food is in red, no matter what number is it behind it, 1, 2, or 3, you need to avoid all of them. Your job is to avoid the foods that are colored in red because your body is reacting to them. I want you to think of this. Now, you told me about your symptoms, things that you're concerned about, your fatigue, your energy, your immune system, whatever it might be. And we decided to do this food allergy test. And so think about the last time that you've had a cold or that somebody in your family had a bad cold. And we're going to relate this to how allergens make you feel as well. Did you have a lot more energy or a lot less energy when you were sick? Now, most people will say, well, I wanted to sleep on the couch. I needed a lot of extra hours of sleep. Of course you did, but why? I want you to think about, why do you feel more tired? Why do you need more sleep when you're sick? The reason is because your immune system is fighting. It's responsible for protecting you against viruses and bacteria and foreign invaders and toxins. So when it sees those foreign invaders, those bacteria or virus, whatever is making you sick, your immune system says, hey, we've got a war going on here. We need to get prepared. We need to fight the enemy. And behind the scenes, your body is working and working and working really super hard, which makes you more tired. What does that have to do with food allergies? I want you to think of the same exact scenario for this person every time she would eat cheese or have any form of milk, maybe eat a lemon or an orange or have blueberries or carrots. It zaps her energy. Her immune system would see the protein of a carrot and say, oh my God, there he is again. We need to go to war. We need to fight this guy. Your immune system has flagged the foods that have triggered on your list in red, flagged those as foreign invaders. Now, that is an allergic reaction. What's been tested here are IgG food reactions, and they're typically delayed. What that means is everyone's been programmed to think that only an acute reaction is an allergy. So that person or that child who's allergic to peanuts, and as soon as they touch a peanut, their lips start to swell, their throat starts to close, they can potentially have an anaphylactic reaction and potentially have death. Those reactions are very, very severe. Those are IgE. They're very acute. That's where the allergist works. Okay, it's very important because it can be life-threatening, but it's less than 1% of your whole immune system is IgE. What we've done is tested IgG. Again, they're delayed reactions. They're not life-threatening. That's why the allergist typically doesn't test for them. They last for 3 weeks in your body before your body can get rid of that reaction, that inflammation, all of the messengers that are going crazy because you ate a carrot. It takes 3 weeks to get out of your system. So if you tell me I gave up carrots for 2 weeks and I couldn't tell a difference, that's because the reaction still isn't out of your body. Okay, so it's very important that you understand that. But the immune system is very complex. So there are IgEs that I just talked about where the allergist works, about 1%. We're talking about IgG reactions, still a hypersensitivity of the immune system. Same definition as the IgEs, just a different presentation and a different reaction in the body. They're delayed, meaning she eats the carrot, she doesn't feel anything. She doesn't feel different. But 3 days from now, she has a severe migraine. And she didn't realize it's because she had a carrot, she ate blueberries, she had lemons, she was eating milk, cottage cheese, and that all loaded up on her. And then she started to have her symptoms. Very difficult to be able to tell what food caused that, because there's not an acute reaction. It happens several days later, and then it keeps your body inflamed for 3 weeks. I hope that's making sense. There are also other columns or other components of the immune system as far as how it can react and have allergens. But what we care about most today are the IgGs. They're still an allergy, okay? They're just a different type. And if you look up allergies, Medscape has a great definition. There are 4 different types of allergic reactions, okay? And each one of them is defined as a hypersensitivity of the immune system, whether or not it's the IgE that's life-threatening or this delayed reaction, and then there are other types of reactions as well. So it's very important for you to understand that. The reactions last for a long time. They often are not immediate, although once you start getting these foods out of your diet and then you have it, you may not feel well when you start eating it again. And it never fails that I have somebody say, well, every time that I eat pork, I don't feel good, but it didn't come up on my allergy list. How can that be? All that means is that you're not allergic to it in an IgG form, and you don't feel good when you eat it. So listen to your body. There's different things, something else that's on the pork, something that makes it hard to digest for you, something that makes you bloated from it, but you're not having an allergic reaction. So you can still not feel well when you eat a food and not be allergic to it. You just have to listen to your body, because I tell you, if you don't feel good when you eat pork, don't eat it. If you don't feel good when you eat an avocado, don't eat it. But what this guide does for us today, what this list does, is gives you more specific information. You never would have known that you shouldn't be eating carrots. Again, I'm going off this example that's in front of us right now. She's allergic to carrots. She may have been able to figure out she was allergic to dairy, but figuring out you're allergic to carrots and kelp, much, much harder. So it gives you a specific guideline, specific to you, nobody else. So how long do you have to avoid those foods? Let me give you the best case scenario first, what the ideal is. You should avoid all of these foods until you test again and you find out if you're still allergic. Why do I say that? Well, maybe she was born allergic to the carrots and it's never going to come off their list, okay? There are 3 common ways that I usually explain to someone of how do I get foods on my list like this. Let's take another scenario. Somebody will routinely say, I have never eaten a bell pepper in my life. How can I be allergic to it? I don't even eat it. Well, let me explain that. Some of the foods on your food allergy list you've earned, and we'll come back to those. Some of the foods on your food allergy list you were probably born with. Remember that we are all unique individuals, okay? You're not like your mother, you're not like your father, you're not like your identical twin. You are special and you're different, okay? Every single person is uniquely different. So sometimes you can just be born with it. My body doesn't like that, okay? And then the third way is that as a mother, when we grow a baby and we deliver that baby, when we breastfeed, we pass along what's called passive immunity, which is a wonderful thing. The mom gives her immune system over to baby because babies do not have a developed immune system when they're born. So if as the mom, you're eating a lot of foods that you're allergic to and your immune system is really jacked up, it's really irritated, it's really mad about the foods that you're eating, you can pass that along to baby through the breast milk. Now, there's no way to say who did that, when you did that, and if that allergen stuck. But when you're looking at a baby who has constant reflux, constant throwing up, constant diaper rashes and diarrhea that won't go away, mom needs to get her food allergies checked and clean up her diet, and that will help the baby, okay? So the baby can get all irritated as well because mom is sending over those food allergens. Now let's go back to the thing that we can change. The number one reason that we get foods on our list, well, it's because we earn them. We're eating them all the time. Maybe carrots and blueberry and grapefruit are this person's favorite foods and she's eating them every single day. And so when your body's inflamed, when your gut is inflamed, when you have a leaky gut, when you've got a disease process going on, when you're under a lot of stress, well, all those things lead to making you more susceptible to develop some of these food allergies. So remember that every single food, whether you're allergic to it or not, is a foreign thing to your body. So even though she is not allergic to apple, when she eats an apple, it does irritate the body a little bit because it's a foreign thing that we have to break down and we absorb the nutrients. Every single food does that to you a little bit. And so that's why the labs quantify these other foods, because they're really irritating the body. So when you've earned a food allergy because you eat it too much or you eat it all the time, the best thing to do is to not eat that food for as long as you can. Then when you retest, like let's pretend these results are from a year ago and now she's retesting and carrots are no longer on her list. Can she eat carrots again? Absolutely, she can. Now, so the best advice is to wait, at the very least 6 months, okay? And ideally, you should retest, especially if you have a long list of food allergies. I know you're overreacting to a lot of those foods, but I don't know which foods have fallen off the list, which foods your body has said, it's okay now, I can handle that sometimes. If you start to change your diet because of your food list and you start to eat something new every single day, there's a really good chance that it's going to turn up on your food allergy list the next time. Because we haven't healed your gut yet, there's a lot of healing and repair that has to go on in the body, and you want to stop irritating it. Best advice is to rotate your foods. So you're going to avoid the foods that you're allergic to, and you're going to rotate your other foods, meaning just don't eat the same foods every single day. I'll go through spurts of raspberries because the raspberries get moldy really fast when they're organic. So I will eat them a couple days in a row, right? Until they're gone. And then I need to make sure I don't buy them until maybe the next week or the week after, because I don't want to eat the raspberries every single day, or raspberries might end up on my list. There is no guarantee that eating something every day will make it turn up on your list, but there is a good chance. So the best advice is to rotate your foods. Have leftovers, but don't have the leftovers every single day that week, okay? So you can get foods off of your list, but I never know which ones are going to come off and which ones are not. So that's why retesting is the best thing. You never want to retest before 6 months, but then anywhere between 8 months and a year is a great time to retest. Now, there'll be a lot of other practitioners who will say after that 6-month period, you can start to incorporate some of them in, listen to how your body feels, and if you tolerate it well, fantastic. I am okay with that, but, and this is a big but, let's say that you do that. You've avoided all of the foods that you're allergic to for 6 months. Now you've started to incorporate them. You're feeling pretty good, but then you have a retest. You go ahead and retest your foods, and you find out a lot of those foods are still on your list. Well, that's the risk you take when you start reincorporating them before your body has actually let them go. So the 6-month mark is a good time frame, but it's not absolute and it's not perfect for everyone. So the better advice is to wait till you get retested and find out which foods you can have. Otherwise, you risk that all the same foods are still going to be on your list, and then you're still in the same boat of having to avoid them. So let's recap a few things to make sure I didn't forget to tell you anything. But we talked about the 3 common ways that we get foods on our list, right? We earn them because we eat them too much and too often. We're born uniquely us, and mothers pass them along. A leaky gut, lots of inflammation, stressors are contributing reasons why we develop them. IgG foods are delayed and they last for 3 weeks in your body before your body gets rid of them. So now think about that. When you first get your list, you've got to start working those foods out of your diet. And you have to get all of them out of your diet. You can't pick and choose off the list of which ones you react to. Well, I'm going to avoid this one and this one and this one, and then wonder why you don't get better. Everything that you're reacting to, you need to get out of your diet. That's your job. I can't do that for you. I can only guide you, and I can help your body to calm inflammation, to heal, to calm down the reaction that it's having those foods, to help let go of some of those allergies. So it's the only thing is not to just avoid the foods. There's other things we need to do as well. But your job, the most important job to start with, is to get the foods out of your diet. Okay, and we talked about when we should retest. And yes, we can get some of the foods off of your list, but there is no guarantee that they will all come off of your list. Okay, so I think that sums it up for IgG food reactions, food allergies. I hope that you've listened to this because you've had this testing done. If you want to give me any feedback, something I've missed that maybe we talk about later, that I need to update or add to this video, please go ahead and do that. These videos I am making for your benefit so I can give as much to you as possible and not have to repeat myself 100 times. So I appreciate you watching it, and I will see you again soon, okay? Bye-bye.